for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENOM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, Venomfire here, back from the video, and today we bring you guys another offensive scheme. This one's going to be out of the pistol trips formation. Now, I made a video on this earlier in the year, I think at the beginning of November, the end of October-ish. And I'm just going to update. I'm going to start updating some of these schemes that I ran, and this one is still very, very good. It's a really good offense. You guys can see by the play calls, I've ran it a good amount online, and it's pretty good. You don't need a whole lot of abilities to run it, which is something that I like. Really, the only abilities that you do need is going to be this tight end apprentice with George Kittle. So I just went ahead and traded him over. Also, this is going to be in the run and gun offensive playbook. It's also in the pistol playbook, but one problem with the pistol one is it does not have as many plays. I don't think it has curl flat at the top. And it also does not have PA halfback flat at the bottom, which are two key plays for the offense. So I do recommend you guys run it out of run and gun playbook. Run and gun also has gun trips tight end, so it also has tight flex. It's a really good offensive playbook. You guys will love it. But yeah, so pistol trips, very, very good formation. If I had to recommend you to put your best receiver in one spot, I would say the slot right here. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much all you need. You have a lot of extra AP to throw on route technicians, gunslinger, things like that. As far as our audibles, here's a look at what we're going to do. We got smash, strong power, PA, counter, waggle, and then we have PA halfback flat. Another play I'm going to run is going to be curl flat, which we'll hop into a little bit later. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start out with smash. That's probably my favorite play, as you've seen from play calls, out of the entire offense. So we'll just set up a little bit of our audibles, and then we will go ahead and hop into it. So also, before we get into the video, make sure you guys do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We just hit 15K. So if you're new to the channel, you're enjoying the content, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. But yeah, so take a look at what we have out of this smash play. It's a little pretty good stock play. Just taking a look at what we have. We have this nice seam route with Christian Kirk. George Kittle and DeAndre Hopkins in particular are the people I want to focus in on just because of their routes. So if I smart route Y and I smart route A, you will see that they become shorter. And these little shorter routes this year are really, really good. So if I just snap the ball relatively stock, you will see, boom, look at DeAndre Hopkins separation. That was a corner route, and he netted about 5 to 7 yards of separation on average. Now, again, he's a 99 overall or 98 overall, whatever he's at. So he's going to get separation. Let's go ahead and try shading outside. We'll shade over the top. You will see that he's still going to get separation. Now, again, he does have some abilities that help him, but more so just focus in on how good that corner route actually is and how effective it can be in your offense. So we're going to do a couple of things. Also, let's throw it to Kittle here against man coverage. Boom, you see he's going to get that vertical separation. Now, that is a linebacker, but again, if you have that extra AP, which we have, you can go ahead and get some of those abilities that help Kittle run his routes just like we did there. So let's hop into some of the setups. The first setup that I want to go ahead and run is going to be just A on a crosser. We're going to put X on a fade. Then we're going to put B on a little zig, and we're going to block our running back. Now what I'm going to do is also motion D-hop over. Now this one's more particular against man coverage. We have a crosser, we have a deep post, we have a zig, and that fade route. All these routes are going to get open against man, or they should, depending on if they shade over the top, whatever. But yeah, this is really only a man coverage setup. I'm not the biggest fan of having flood concepts this year where all the routes are running the same side. It's pretty easy to work those types of things, and that's how you throw interceptions. So again, I'll show that setup a little bit more here. Let's shade over the top on this one. You will see the zig should get a little bit more separation. Again, you're throwing X on a fade, B on a zig, A on a cross. You're going to motion DeAndre from left to right, and you also could smart out Y if you want. If you're doing that, you have to motion him completely across, but you see, look at the separation from Hopkins on that. So again, you do kind of want to motion snap him. He's not going to get jammed at the line of scrimmage, but that's a good way to run it. So that was just a man coverage beater. Let's hop into some of the zone stuff that personally I like to run. And my first setup is going to be R1 or RB on a wheel route. Now again, make sure your trips are on the wide side, but when your trips are on the wide side, you can actually put your running back on a wheel route, which you can't do out of trips tight end because he's on the right hip, so I can't have a wheel route going to the same side as my trips. Something that makes it a little bit better. This pistol trip's a little bit better. One of the pros to running pistol trips over a gun trips tight end. This is also some off-meta stuff, so it's going to be route combos that your opponent's probably not seen before. You can catch them off guard while still running it out of a trip set. But In addition to that, what we're going to go ahead and be doing is we're just going to go ahead and just smart route A, and then we're going to motion DeAndre Hopkins over. So I'm going to leave the fade route or that seam route in the middle for now. And again, I can smart route Y if I want to, just like I will here. The only kind of problem with that route combo when you smart route both Y and A, as you saw there, is they're going to run into each other. Now, one way I found to kind of counteract that is going to be to put A just on a manual corner route and smart route him. So I'm going to put A on a corner, smart route A, and then I'm going to smart route Y, but it's important that you put A on that hot routed corner route, so he's going to be quicker breaking. Then I can kind of snap the ball right here, and boom, you see they're going to cut at different depths, allowing them to not run into each other. That's also going to help with man and zone coverage. So the next adjustment that we're going to do is just to change B's route up. Now, you probably saw against cover 2, he did get separation. When I audible to that, let's go with cover 3. Now, cover 3 is mainly when you're going to hit the running back. He probably should have been open against cover 2. I didn't really look that way, but I assume that he was. Now, the other way to do it is going to be B on a drag. Again, I could put A on this little corner route, and then I'm going to smart route Y and just motion him over again. Rarely will you actually use Y as a corner route against zone coverage just because it's not going to get too good of separation there. So personally, I think it is a little bit better to just motion him over and use him as a post route. Let's throw the wheel route here. I'll show you guys kind of how that works. And again, the setup was A on a corner route, smart route A, smart route Y, drag B, and put RB on a wheel and X on an out route. Again, motion, D-hop. I like to snap him a little bit earlier on this type of a thing, but here you see the wheel route's open, so he can't really defend the post and the wheel route at the same time. If you kind of see where he's defending them both, you can snap the ball when Hopkins is a little bit further to the right side, but for now, we'll kind of stick with that. Now, overall, that's pretty much going to be it. Again, I can kind of run some like weird stuff. Maybe I run just X on that route. Maybe I leave the corner out. Maybe I smart out Y, I put B on a drag, and then I smart out A with no motion, just a little quick snap type setup. This is something that you could run against zone, and that would be successful with the corner out going a little bit further over the top. But again, that corner out, we want to use it against man. Let's just show what that would kind of look like if it were zone. You would see the corner out and the out route are just kind of be useless in this sense. We really want to make sure that we use every single route. You see how X, he's going to be open. You could hit X realistically, but the corner out's kind of running into nowhere, even on the wide side of the field. So we like to motion him over and use him as a post route. But I did spend a lot of time on that. That's probably my favorite play, just because it's unique. There's not really too much stuff kind of like that. It's kind of like X spot, but I do think it is a little bit better just because of the wheel route aspect. But let's move into our next play, which is actually going to be our run play, the strong power. Now, there's also a halfback stretch. There's a halfback counter. There is a read option, I believe. So you have some options if you don't like the power. I do like the power just because I can run it to the right. I can kind of cut it up the middle. Now, our O-line's not pretty good, not very good at all. But typically you will have numbers just to this right side. If I kind of stop and go, we did get shedded. That's Bobby Wagner. That's a very high overall linebacker. So that's to be expected. But you see how the box could kind of develop. I can also cut it back like this. And that is a perfect example of what can happen when you're running to a side that you have numbers with. So again, a lot of people might expect you to run to this side just because you have blockers on that side. Oh, you have a lot of numbers, which you can. You see I just ran it to the left. I had pretty good success, and this is just a nickel formation kind of stock. So you could run it that way, but there's a lot of bigger chance to get shedded, especially using those receivers. You want some fast pulling guards. Justin Pugh is pretty slow there, but you see how it has a big play potential. That's what you want out of your run plays, even without it. If he just seals off that edge with Bobby Wagner, I could easily get to the outside and pick up 10 yards. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It is more of a pass-heavy formation, but that is definitely an option to do. And you do want to mix in the run. If you have a mobile QB like a Kyler, you could go with the read option. The counter does work, but again, against like a man coverage base with this, everybody's pressed. I would stick with the strong power, but if they're going with like a cover 2, you see the cornerback on the right, you're going to assume that it's a cover 2. This would be a good option to flip your strong power and just run it to the weak side. And boom, you see the blocks just develop really, really well there. So just kind of read man coverage. I'm going to run to that right side. I see zone. I have numbers. I'm going to run to the left side. So just a little guessing game there. Let's move into our next play, which will be the PA counter waggle. Taking a look at what we have now. In comparison from this play to PA halfback flat, take a look at the crosser routes we have. We have Christian Kirk on this baby crosser, out of the PA halfback flat. But when we go to the PA counter waggle, you see we have a very deep crosser, and that's because DeAndre Hopkins is now the one that's on the crosser, where in PA halfback flat, it's going to be Christian Kirk. So what I like to do with this, we're going to hop into more of the tight end apprentice. I'm going to put A on a post, and I'm going to smart out X. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty good quick snap play. You could also block your running back on this, but here's just a look at what I would do basically. Go ahead, snap the ball. You're going to have numbers. Boom. You see Christian Kirk. He's almost on that drag, on like a weird slant to drag combo. If you want, you could just put him on the manual drag route, which I'll kind of do here, so that the crosser won't necessarily run into each other. Now we have some other options for this as well, but this is just the first way to run it. You have that deep post. You have the crosser kind of running to the same area, but you see the crosser's got separation. Now, that sometimes could be an issue because you can kind of use the crosser and that S post at the same time, and then maybe later in the play you can lurk down on that post route. So the reason I'm not the biggest fan of that is I like to actually sometimes motion X over, and I would probably put him on like a streak route, something like this is probably what I would do. So I got my crosser, I got a post, I got a drag, and then I would motion Andy here on a streak. I would snap him in the slot right about there, so it kind of disguises as some of the other plays, but that is definitely an option that you could go ahead and go with pretty simply there. Yeah, so you can obviously get more creative. Maybe I want to put A on like a kind of short corner route just underneath the crosser, but I could put A on a crosser if I wanted to, but usually I'll go with A on a post. As far as other routes I could do, maybe I want to go with B on like a flat. And then with X, I'm not sure what you would do, but you could kind of put them on like an underneath route. Or I put B on a little hitch. I put X on a smoke screen. I motion B over. This would probably be against zone, but there's a lot of ideas you could do, and this is the reason I like the offense, just because I can kind of hitch B. He's going to pull him down, and I can hit the crosser. Terrible accuracy, but you guys kind of understand what I mean. You can really use these routes. Now, if I want to use the S post to my advantage without anything else, probably what I'm going to go with is going to be A on a post, and then I'm going to put B on like a backside slant or Y on a backside slant. I would probably go with B. Then I'm going to flat Y, something like this. Maybe I put RB on like a wheel. So you could go with an option like this. Just really, there's a lot that you can do, especially with the tight end apprentice. You see Andy Isabella, he's going to get his separation there. So there really are a lot of options, good against man, good against zone, and it's nice to just have all like one or two unique routes on a play that you can just build different route combos around. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into our next play, which will be the PA halfback flat here. PA halfback flat is a really, really good play. Again, you have all of the stock routes that you need. This time we're going to focus in on Y and B. We got B on a crosser, Y on a deep post. Now, my first setup for this is going to be smart out Y. I'm going to put A on a post, block my running back, and then I'm going to put X on a drag here. Just taking a look at what we have. Deep post, crosser, backside post, and a drag. I'm going to motion Isabella over, so that's something we haven't really done today. And just kind of snap him like this. So I have a lot of crossers. Boom, just look at D hop in the middle of the field right there. That's stock 2-man under. He's going to split that against just Tampa 2 as well. And basically, you're going to force your opponent to always be playing 3 high safeties or 2 high safeties in the middle third, because he's got to respect that S post, and now he's got to respect that skinny post coming from the middle of the field. So he's got a couple of different things he's going to look for, but he's always going to have to put someone in the middle of the field to defend those guys. And then he also is going to have to maybe double flat. He's got crossers, he's got posts, he's going to have to mix in man coverage. It's really a headache to defend, kind of like how Gunship's tight end is. As far as X, again, I could leave him here if I wanted to. Personally, I like to kind of create a spread formation by just getting another drag route going over there. Just creates more of a headache to defend. It creates maybe, I'm going to have to hard flat that trip side, which is typically something people won't do against Gunship's tight end. They're always going to probably be hard flatting this right side of the field rather than the left side because, again, without motion, there's not really routes that are going to go to the left side without the tight end. And again, with motion, more times than not, you're expecting a deeper post, whatever the case is. Again, just A on a post, RB blocking, and X on a little drag route. As far as some other things that you could go ahead and do, maybe I put B on like a backside slant instead of the crosser if I'm not confident in this crosser. And maybe he's playing high zone drops, curl flats at 25, and he's not double flatting on the right side. An easy alternate would be B on a slant, X on a drag, A on a post. Again, I can always cross or A instead, but this would be an option that you could do. And then I could always, out route X if I like that a little bit better, or flat him in this case. But boom, you see DeAndre Hopkins just getting really good separation on the post. We're just using these unique routes to our advantage. Something else you could kind of do if you wanted to is almost turn him into a corner out. So maybe I go with A on like a post. With B, I would probably put B on like a little hitch, or I would probably drag B, cross X, do something like this, or slant B. You could really do whatever, but I would actually motion Hopkins over. So something like this could be successful. Again, I would probably want playmaker on my slot guy, but that's just a little way you could get a deeper corner out if you needed to. And then it would also beat man coverage if it's, stock 2-man under with no deep safeties or just a mid blitz, whatever. That would be an alternate option. But yeah, let's go ahead and move into our last play, which will be this curl flat. Now again, we have this curl flat I brought up a little bit earlier in the video. This is going to be actually kind of similar to the curl flat out of trips tight end. You see we have basically every single stock route. The only difference is that we don't have our B on his little Texas route or angle route. That's not too big of an issue because we're going to kind of audible around, but just if you wanted to create like a similar setup to some of the stock ones, you could just put Y on like a flat. I could put A on an out route and just kind of snap the ball. You see A is going to be open, B is going to be open. If it's man coverage, if it's zone coverage, you got Y and X. So I'll show that against cover 3 here, A on an out route. I could always smart route B as well, but boom, you see Y and X. As we got a terrible route bounce there. That's one of the big reasons why I always use flat routes instead of out routes, because that route bounce, he's just going to bounce his route after 1 second of sitting there. But yeah, obviously if you have backfield master or hot route master, because our trip is always going to be on the wide side, he's actually going to run his angle route to this side, which would kind of put him clashing with all of our other routes. That's the reason that this play isn't very successful with an angle route out of pistol. But I could also smart out A. That would be good against man coverage. If I were probably creating a different type of a combo, maybe something I go with is going to be flat Y. And then I'm actually going to put X on like a weird backside slant. So something like this, very successful against man coverage. You got slant, you got a corner out, you got a deep post. They're all going to beat man, and it's just really going to be difficult to user, especially with the backside slant. Backside slants are, if you run them enough, it's going to force your opponent to throw a bluff blitz or a mid-read or a vert hook on that left side, which really will put you at a heavy advantage in the game. So I could also go ahead, going back to that point, mix in like a little wheel route to out route if you're going with coverage a lot, cover 2, cover 3. I could actually mix in, again, this wheel route combo. If I'm doing that, probably what I'm going to go with would be, maybe be on like a drag. And then with Y, I don't know, I could kind of streak him just to open up our corner out a little bit more. Also, going back to my stock routes kind of point, what I could do is also just kind of run a stock with my running back blocks, but with B on a drag. So kind of what I'm saying here is just drag B, smart out A, block my running back, flat Y. Something like this. It's very basic, but sometimes these basic route combos are a little bit better in this game. I see it's cover 3. I can step up as we got a touch pass, but the flat would be open. Certain coverages, the curl route will be open. So again, just kind of pick and choose what you want to do, but there's definitely some options. And really, there's so many other setups that I could have talked about. There's other run plays. There's other pass plays. There's a good flood play. There's a lot in this playbook. So I do urge you guys to try out this playbook. Try out this formation a lot. And yeah, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, peace. I'm out of here.